Scott, hi Ben. Hey John. John.
Good afternoon.
Gonna hang on for Kirsten to give me the go ahead.
Yep, we're streaming.
Oh, we are streaming
Yep.
now. We have 5 members, so maybe if we wait a couple of minutes, we can have a quorum.
I'm just letting Rena in now.
Great. Hi, Rena.
Hi, everyone.
Kirsten, do we have others who had indicated they'd be joining?
We did. We have 4 others that they would be here.
Okay, we can wait a minute then. I think Kaisha said she might be a little late, but
Okay.
just a minute or two. I have a kind of hard stop at 5:30, unfortunately. I'm sure nobody minds if we're done by then anyway, but I want to try to zip through sort of partial agenda here. I see a message from Scott that he can't hear. Anybody else having trouble hearing?
No, I can hear you.
Scott, I think it might be on your end.
Oh, wait, we'll have to type to him, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
That was very useless. I need to mark. I can do that. Okay, thanks, Ben. Hello, Andrew. All right, well, why don't we just get going? I don't know if we have anyone from the public. I guess they can watch along on Zoom, but I'll just convene the meeting of the Correction Advisory Committee Wednesday, February 21st. It's 4:33. This is our first meeting since our public hearing back in January. Obviously, since then, hi, Daryl. We're just getting underway. Obviously, since then, the governor has made his nomination, I guess. I don't know if it's an appointment or a nomination of Hillary Carpenter to be the ombuds. As I understand it, and Kirsten might have an update on this, but I believe it was initially initially sent to judiciary or to one part of judiciary and not the other. So there might be a little bit of a holdup in terms of Hillary's hearing, but I believe that will be scheduled fairly soon, within the next few weeks. I think we've had a little back and forth by email, which we can continue in executive session in a moment, regarding the committee's reaction to this. And I think as you've seen, I and Marisol at least have made a couple of statements in the press indicating, a little bit of surprise at the choice, but also, expressing our faith in Hillary and noting that, all 3 were very well qualified. Ben, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Obviously, I remember there was a statutory limit on how quickly the governor had to appoint someone after we sent our names to him. Is there anything in the statute how quickly the legislature has to act on his nomination?
I don't think so. I can try to pull it up in just a moment here. My recollection is there's a provision if the legislature is not in session, in which case the appointment would kind of go through as an acting position. As it happens, through all sorts of delays and coincidences, the legislature is in session, but I don't think there's a timeline on the legislature approving, or the assembly approving it. It's not even really clear, to me at least, how it works. It doesn't say what happens, for example, if they were not to approve the nomination. that might be something that can be inferred from other contexts, but it's not stated in the statute. So that, as far as the agenda goes, that's kind of the only update on the appointment, other than what we can, we obviously will, if we go into executive session momentarily, we can chat about it more, just about our own reactions to it. But I think I'm fairly comfortable with the statements we've made so far, which are, to express some, appropriate questioning of the process. And I think that has been the reception from folks on the Judiciary Committee as well, while still expressing support for Hillary, Ms. Carpenter, who I do think was a strong candidate, is a strong candidate. Before we move on, before we move into executive session, I just want to flag the appropriations issue as well. Unfortunately, I have little to say about it other than, I'm sorry, Marisol's coming in. Hi, Marisol. Sorry about that. I didn't realize I had the waiting room.
Yeah, no stress. I'm good.
Sure. So we did a quick update on what's happened since our last meeting. Yeah.
So can I just tell you guys the full ramifications of this and how far this action of the governor actually impacts? So I was in Hawaii this past week at a restorative justice conference, and I met the ombudsman from Hawaii, the state of Hawaii Correctional, and I got a couple of questions as to how did we feel as a committee, that the fact that the governor did not go with our recommendation as he saw fit, and they wondered our next steps. So I was very careful of, again, the support, but understand that the ramifications and responses are farther and wider reaching than just Connecticut, that people are really watching what is happening here. And we're getting mixed conversations around this. We're shocked from the governor, shocked at his actions, and wondering what our next steps are, especially as they have an ombudsman and correctional advisory committee as we do like this. So just putting that out there based on my recent interaction as of Friday and Saturday when I met with the Hawaii Correctional Department of Corrections and their ombudsman people at a conference.
Okay, good to know. In a moment, I think we'll take a motion to move into an executive session and discuss reactions further in that setting. As I was just saying before you joined, I do want to kind of at least name appropriations as an item on our agenda and something that we should be continuing to keep an eye on. As I understand it, the Appropriations Committee has been having hearings. I believe it did already consider both corrections and judiciary, although I guess that's more the court system than Judiciary Committee, but corrections and government accountability last week. I texted briefly with Senator Winfield today, and he said there's nothing really substantive to report on that. So, I guess I don't really know the process myself, but maybe these are sort of pro forma hearings as an initial matter, and the real work is to come. So I was hoping to have, maybe be able to designate someone from the committee to kind of keep tabs on that, and just sort of advise the rest of us on when and if there are things that we should be doing. Obviously in the statements that some of us have made in the press, I think we've been highlighting the appropriations issue. I know that I think the governor's office had reached out to me last week to suggest a meeting if and when Hillary is appointed, and that may present an opportunity to sort of push for this as well. But I don't want to be missing anything just because, at least of my own ignorance, I don't know about others, like what's actually happening while we're waiting for this. So it'd be great if there was someone who, could kind of take that job of just trying to keep up with the appropriations process and whether and when we should be, making any statements or requests. And you know, I mean, if anybody on the call it feels up to that, great. I thought that it was something, at least last year, that Mel was sort of a little bit attuned to anyway. Daryl, maybe you are as well. I don't want to speak for anybody. And Scott, I'm not, and I don't want to volunteer anybody. So, you know, insofar as Mel's not on the call, you know, we can maybe table it and just try to ask somebody to raise their hands over email, unless there's someone on the call now who feels like they'd be willing and also, you know, well suited for that. All right, so yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, and I'll kind of circulate that by email to see if there's anyone who can keep track, and recall that Andrew Clark at UConn is probably a good resource in that regard as well. Obviously not someone on the committee, but someone who we can try to reach out to keep us abreast of what's happening. So that's kind of all we had. Happy to discuss anything else in the public portion, and you know, if not, we can take a motion to go into executive session.
I'll move to go into executive session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
Marisol, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we'll